Welcome to the battlefield to the boardroom. Today, we're doing a 10-minute talk with Victor, and we are here to talk about big picture to little picture. And here's the problem. People out there with a side hustle, a lot of ambition, a lot of ideas, you can get swept up in the dream, in the big picture dreams of everything you got going on in your life. But the minutia, the details, the small things can eat you alive and keep you from excelling on multiple fronts. And Victor Hill is a friend of mine, an Army lieutenant, working on his transition plan. And you probably are the most side hustly guy I know. you have so much knowledge about such a wide variety. It's probably because you're one of the big 10-pound brain guys. But yeah, I mean, what's the trick? What's the secret?
The secret so far has been constantly refining my daily, weekly, monthly compartmentalization of everything that I do. So when it comes to an example would be my military responsibilities for that, right now is the bulk of my income, and then compartmenting the honey-do list and the home improvement list. But then looking at how I want my end state to be, my daily life to be. I look at the end goal, which is how I want my day to be eventually, not comprised with driving into an office and dealing with all the issues that may arise and the stressors. But, at the end, I want to have this company bring in this revenue. But, tomorrow I'm going to have to do this level of mundane paperwork, or I want my house a certain way because when I get home, I want to be able to walk out back and turn the fire on and have dinner outside and have a glass of scotch. But I haven't built that deck yet. I haven't taken the measurements yet. I haven't figured out, okay, I'm gonna have to rent this truck because I don't drive a truck. I can't bring back the 2x4 by 12 foot, beams that I need and all that stuff. So compartmentalization has helped me to refine the little things that absolutely positively are not fun, not the fun part. But at the end of the week, when I'm able to see that I've checked off that box, and now we're on the next step. It kind of plays into the, make your bed every day, in the morning concept. That way you have that first thing done and you've hit that level of accomplishment. Working out in the mornings. So like every little aspect of my day is a compartmented piece to the large grand scale puzzle that will eventually be how I've envisioned my life and my family's life. So
yeah. Right. So everything is about perspective then, right? Because it is fun and attractive and cool to think about all the big picture. I'm on a yacht, or I'll have this big house, or I'm gonna have all this great stuff lined up. But it's very hard to think about filing my taxes as the next important step. Mm-hmm. So I hear you, being able to take all the big pictures, figure out what the action steps are for each of them, and then create a routine that allows you to focus on one action step at a time. You're a military guy, right? So the basic principle is if you have more than one main effort, you have no main effort. And yep. It's that idea that if you try we use the word multitask badly. Like if you try and multitask, what you're really doing is micro switching between a lot of different things. And the micro switching mm-hmm. is distracting. And it means you don't give your full attention to anything. So how do you pick what comes up next? Like, you've got your career, right? You've got captain scores coming up. You got future promotions on the rise. You've got businesses that you're starting up. You're engaged. You have all this stuff across the spectrum, right? So when you wake up in the morning, what's your proverbial make your bed? Like, what's that thing you do when you wake up to say, okay, get my mind right. This is the uniform I'm wearing for today to do the job I'm going to do right now.
So before the morning, every night, I kind of, I go in my little book, and I have about 5 of them now because I go through them so quickly. But, I draw it out and I'm like, okay, so for work tomorrow, how's my day looking? I know for a fact I have to, I got to take the dog out. I got to work out. I got to eat, healthy breakfast. and all that. So I take care of me first, which is, to me, is like, that's kind of the golden nugget, because once you feel good, you can execute on everything that you've set out. There's certain days where you're just firing on all cylinders and you're just like, phone call here, meeting here, all that stuff. And it's because you started your day, you've kicked off your day, and you know exactly what you have to execute. So, but long story short, I start with me first. Food, gym, and kind of set my mind right. And then I look at, okay, so work, which is obviously the bulk and primary source of income right now. I look at what big ticket items have to be tackled for the week when it comes to work. And then I usually prioritize that first. But then I come in with like, okay, personally, we have, like you said, I'm engaged. Fortunately, I'm not doing all that planning. But, I look at, one of my businesses, a tech company that is being developed. So I'm like, okay, when it comes to my specific role in this company, because I have two partners, what do I have to execute to move that, another 5 yards towards the goal. So then I'll schedule that. And then I'll look at, okay, the grand scheme of things, the real estate, the property management company, the philanthropic side. What calls do I have to make? Meetings can I set today that can also move that forward? So I don't look at the end state always. I know it's always in the back of my mind, but I look at how can I move forward this week, which goes into how I talk to the other entrepreneur. Just like, well, I know you want to buy a house, but have you looked at your finances? And oftentimes, like, no, I just really I want to get into a house this year. Well, you got to start.
Right.
And something I learned before I got into my first multifamily home from active duty passive income group, they were like, the mantra was massive action. And it was just like taking action on things that you've set, that you put on your vision board, that you keep on your vision board, but you haven't really executed. So, I start with myself.
Yeah.
I look at my most income producing, prioritize that first. But then when it comes to execution throughout the week, I find out everything that I can execute at a fast pace that'll move the ball forward.
And you talked about writing things down too. Like you said, you have 5 journals. Like, it's good. We use the Forge journal, and you start with the monthly, then you go to the weekly, then you do the daily, right? And you live the daily. The basic tenet in operational planning design is to plan backwards, live forward, right? So if you said you had your end state, and then you figure out, well, to get to my end state, I'm gonna need these 3 big ticket things. Well, great. Put those 3 big ticket things in your plan, whether they're a daily or weekly, a monthly kind of thing. And then you live it. Like, you got to actually do it. So I like that. I mean, you're what'd you call it, a vision board?
Yes.
So you actually have like an actual board where you put up like, hey, here's my goal. I'm going to invade this country or do whatever it is you're going to do.
So I enjoy not having a lot of paper. So my vision board and my fiance's are both on share photo albums on our phones and iPads and all that stuff. But yeah, it's but I think the biggest issue is a lot of people put stuff on their vision board and get caught up in daily life and forget on executing on the small things that'll get you there.
Yeah.
And there's obviously road bumps and things like that, but I've even, between my fiance and I, like, look, we need this course of action, this course of action, and this course of action, because it's not going to be all, peaches and cream all the way to the finish line. So, if we can't get a property within this time frame, or if we can't, if my app isn't developed within this time frame, or we lose contact with that person, how do we still reach that end state with a potential different course?
Yeah, we call it chaining events. So if you put something down as your 1 year, then when you look at your 6 months, you ought to have something that moves you towards that. And if you have it on your 6
yes.
month, you ought to have something on your 1 month or on your 1 week or on your 1 day. Like we chain events together where the thing I do now fuels the future goals. But you got to understand all the steps along the way to do it. I like the idea of putting it visually. And even if you're just using photographs, that's a neat way to like tie it all together without, typing out all the details. That's good stuff.
It's crazy. It's all attainable. I had a conversation yesterday about barriers to entry, both literally and figuratively, but a lot of people get caught up in the barriers, and I myself, I rarely even think about it, because when it comes to my and my family's end goals, those barriers don't exist. And anytime anything like that is encountered, you circumvent it or you just demolish it, because why would you let someone else be someone or something else hinder what you've set out for you and your family? And so that's another issue that I try to ensure we always circumvent along the way.
Yeah. Focus on the goal, not on the obstacles. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big topic actually right now, as we talk about like, how do we focus on things that matter? And it's very easy to get drawn into the trap of all the reasons why your business will never launch. Your wedding date won't hit on time. Your promotion won't go. I mean, you could go down a wormhole of all the bad stuff. That's a mindset too. Or you can find action steps that move you towards what you're going to do. And that's like the definition of perseverance and resiliency is create a place where, in spite of the obstacles, the setbacks, the objections, you continue to move the ball forward.
Exactly. I cling on to everything that can support me succeeding.
Yeah.
I cling on to my first name being Victor. It's impossible for me to fail. It means winner, literally. So
that's true. I like it. I've done a couple Victors, and they all drove hard. So that's good. Well, Victor, thank you very much for being with us on Battlefield of the Boardroom. Appreciate, kind of the insight. You are a young guy out there doing great things. You've got all sorts of, different venues, different stuff. And the idea of creating a vision board, as you called it, and then taking those long-term things, setting up, micro steps to get there, and then putting them in order. It's a powerful tool that everybody should be thinking about, whether you're transitioning, starting a company, starting a family, and doing it with that sort of focused intentionality of get up and make your bed. I mean,
exactly.
None of this stuff is rocket surgery, right? I mean, this is all just do the work, and you get there. Hey, brother, thank you for being on with us. And, for an Army guy, you're not half bad. And I will, I guess we're going to talk again in another week. So I'll talk to you soon. But I appreciate you taking the time for the 10-minute talk on tactics.
Awesome. Thank you so much.